Yeah, what up? It's your boy Rob coming back at you once again with another video. So before we get started, you already know what to do. Make sure you smash that like button, drop your boy a comment, hit the bell icon twice if you're not already subscribed, and let's get into it. So I told you guys I've been keeping an eye on Ghana because the president of the country really impresses me, all right? And he impressed me again because it's very interesting, man. You listen to this dude, he's got similar philosophy and similar talking points to me. All right, so apparently there's a little bit of rift when it comes to the cocoa industry. I already know, we know from the video that we did last time that he told the president of Switzerland, we're gonna be changing up the relationship. You guys gonna get our cocoa, but we're gonna be the ones getting the profit. Y'all gonna be the ones doing the paying. Now apparently, I don't know, man, I'm sure that didn't go over real well. You already know. So he recently made some more statements about it. All right, so let's actually check them out and see exactly what he said. All right, so I'm gonna pause this music real quick and we're gonna go through this video. So let's do this.
Join me in welcoming His Excellency President Nana Akufo-Addo of Ghana.
So what do? I come straight to the podium? Okay. A set of statistics that I've been pulling out to make the point. Between Ghana and our neighbor Cote d'Ivoire, we produce 65% of the world's output of cocoa.
When I tell you guys that the world is completely and 100% dependent on Africa for every single thing, I was not kidding. Ghana's a small country in Africa. 60% of the entire world cocoa production comes out of Ghana. And yet we'll sit here in a country, United States, where the former president says that this continent that we come from is a shithole, but the entire world is dependent on a shithole. I've never seen anyone get life support from a toilet that's full of shit. But apparently that's what the rest of the world believes. If we can make statements like the continent of Africa is a shithole. It looks like everybody's sipping from the shit soup with a golden straw. The president of Ghana is not feeling that, and nobody should be feeling that. Nobody here, nobody in the United States, nobody in the UK, nobody in Canada, nobody in Australia, nobody in New Zealand. Nobody should be on board with this. This would not be allowed to go on in Europe, and it shouldn't be allowed to go on in Africa. Let's see what else he says.
The chocolate industry is a 100 billion United States dollars industry.
Now think about that. That's just one industry in one small country, okay? Where Ghana makes up 60%. So let's just say Ghana's contribution to that is 60 billion. $60 billion, as small as Ghana is, that wouldn't even be their only GDP. That's just in one industry. Why are the people there so poor? What has the world done to contribute to the fact that Ghana doesn't make shit from a $100 billion industry? The EU wouldn't put up with that. NATO wouldn't put up with that. Saudi Arabia, as far as oil production, wouldn't put up with that. Russia definitely wouldn't put up with that, neither would China. Why is it that the countries in Africa are expected to put up with that? It's the same reason we're expected to put up with BS here in the United States.
And we, who produce 65% of its raw material, cocoa, make less than $6 billion from the...
So they make 60%, they produce 60% of the product and bring home 6%. That is unacceptable. I want everybody in the comments to type this out with me. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. You never provide 60% of the supply and bring home 6% of the profit. You never do that. You never do that. You never have a business model like that. That is what's called stealing and being taken advantage of. Repeat after me. Type it in the comments. This is what's called stealing and being taken advantage of.
Toil of our farmers, i.e. barely 6% of the entire value chain of cocoa. The farmers, whose efforts make possible the growth of this lucrative industry, receive nearly a pittance for their labors. This is not right.
Facts. Facts. I want everybody to type it in with me. Facts. See, because you start to understand this kind of stuff when you repeat. So I want you to listen and repeat what I'm saying. Type it in the comments. Say it out loud if you can. You should never be on the end of a business deal like this. Everywhere in the world, we are all at the end of business deals like this. It is time for that to end now.
We need to change the statistics. If we simply ground and sold the cocoa in paste form, instead of selling the cocoa beans, we double our earnings. In much the same way as we double our earnings from gold if we sold it refined than in its raw states. I do understand that there are nations who have built their industrial complexes around the value chain of our raw commodities. It is time to change that setup.
Facts. Absolutely. 100%. Facts. And oh well, if you created a value chain, guess what? Now you got a bunch of equipment you're not using. You better find somewhere else. You better start looking to South America.
In Ghana, through my government's one district, one factory policy, we're ensuring an even spatial spread of industries. This policy is intended to promote rapid rural industrialization at the district level, driven by strong linkages to agriculture.
Everybody always talking about protect Kevin Samuels. Yeah, this nigga right here should be higher on the priority list. Nana Akufo-Addo. Protect him, because I'm telling you, I could see them taking him out.
And other natural resource endowments in order to create jobs and development. It's time we were responsible for processing our own resources. It is time that we in Africa manage our resources well.
And now you see what's going on here, and I want everybody to pay attention. What everybody needs to do is I need everybody who follows me to follow my social media, and I need you all to do some independent research. I need you all to find the names of the Ghanaian cocoa industries that can be invested in, how to invest in them. Send me the information so that I can create a video with it, because this is how you practice powernomics. Now, this is the same guy that said that he wants Americans, Canadians, people from all over the Africa diaspora, that's what he said, to reinvest back in Africa to make Africa great like how China is great, and it can be done. So if you look at the Bloomberg developing the growth markets, Ghana has one of the most favorable economic climates, and it has been completely coronavirus resistant. So what we need to do is, instead of investing in blue chip stocks, who none of us own, none of us are a part of, none of us have any high ranking, anything in that, we need to start pouring our money into a place that is actually utilizing it to uplift itself. You need to start investing in Ghanaian cocoa bean manufacturing companies. That is what everyone should be doing right now. Every single black person who has an extra penny across the world should be investing into Ghanaian cocoa bean factories
to generate wealth for our populations. What is true of our agricultural resources?
If people were on code properly, the money that Jay-Z got from selling Tidal, he would put some of it into these cocoa bean factories. And he thinks that he's such a businessman, he would offer his services to this president and try to run this company. All of the black graduates from the HBCUs who have MBAs, global economy, finance degrees, manufacturing, operations management degrees, accounting, they should be trying to find jobs with these Ghanaian industries. We live in a coronavirus, post-coronavirus world where you don't even go to work. You don't need to move to Ghana, even though you can. They have, make it so that you can go over there. You can use Zoom. You can work in a virtual office space. Software engineers. We need to not invest in anywhere else's agriculture or products. These industries right here need the money. That's how you practice powernomics. There will be a return. Jack Dorsey is investing in Africa. See, what people don't understand is that when it comes to finance, you need to look up what's called a hostile takeover. You see, what they've done is they've completely reset the world and reset it by a set of laws, which are basically like rules in a game. So if you lose by not following the rules, then when it comes to the third reset, you still have to start all over. There's a set of rules now, but you can still play within the rules and win. All you have to do is save out $1 every paycheck. Invest into one of these companies at the end of the year, $360. That's all you got to do. Some people can afford more, some people can afford less. That's very little, very low risk. One time at the end of the year, you know what I'm saying? See, because the problem is that when it comes to the wealth here in the United States, the wealth is locked in. You guys are trying to get the last drips out of a dry cup of water where there's nothing left. And people are like, oh, how are we going to bridge the wealth gap? How are we going to bridge the wealth gap? The Ghanaian economy is on the verge of exploding. You know what I'm saying? You ever had the bubble guts and had to run to the bathroom real quick, but you had like 10 more miles to go and you couldn't do it? The way that you feel sitting in the car is what's about to happen with Ghana's economy. And I'm going to show you. You know what I'm saying? Hold on real quick. Ghana's economy 2021. All right. Budget to steer a strong economic growth. Now look at this. I know. I know if it's something that says Ghana in it, you're not going to take it credible. So I'm not going to go there. We're going to go to Reuters. Okay. Ghana's 2021 budget projects growth at 5% as it plots recovery. Ghana's economy is projected to grow by around 5% in 2021, while inflation is expected to return to its targeted band of 8%, plus or minus 2 percentage points. The West African nation's parliamentary affairs minister said on Friday as he presented the budget. Asikai Mensa Bonsu told Parliament that the 2021 budget sees expenditures at 113.75 billion credits, which is 119.9 billion, which is up 13.7%. Compared with the previous years as West African nation introduces measures to recover from the coronavirus pandemic. The fiscal deficit is seen at 9.5% in 2021, down from 11.7% to the previous year. The 2021 budget outlines the president's program for accelerated recovery from the devastating impact of COVID-19, Bonsu said. It explains our plan to emerge stronger by pressing on with economic transformation, strengthening our social compact, and building a sustainable future. He warned, however, that the country, which produces gold, cocoa, and oil, was not out of the woods yet and would need to control spending while increasing its tax base to collect more revenues. The budget estimated revenue and grants for 2021 would raise to about $12.69 billion, a 31% increase from the previous year. The finance ministry said on Tuesday that Ghana would borrow up to $5 billion from capital markets this year to finance its 2021 budget and manage its debt. Now, if people invested, they wouldn't have to borrow that much. And when they're forced to borrow that much, they're going to be borrowing that from places like China, places like the United States. You don't want that. You don't want that. So why not put your faith and your money into that? Ghana emerging markets. Look. An overview and emerging markets. Look at this. Let me see if I can find something that we can look at and call it like universal. Treasures.org, the Infinite Times. Let's see. News Ghana, Scholar, Harvard. Yeah, here, look, this is from Harvard University. All right, so this should be good. Emerging Markets Case Study, Winning in Ghana. Insights to Ghana's market opportunity, the challenge of the large economy, creating the right value propulsion. Let's see what the conclusion is. We're going to skip all the way down to 11. All right, here's the conclusion. As entering the Ghanaian market grows increasingly attractive, companies are devising creative ways to gather the market insights they need to craft compelling consumer offers that can meet both the needs of Ghanaian consumers and generate even strong revenues and profits. As identified by the issues, challenges, insights, and recommendations throughout this paper, companies interested in entering and winning in Ghana need to devise a structured approach to understand and do business with Ghanaian customers by focusing on the unique needs, behaviors, and preferences of Ghana's consumer segments, and by applying an orderly approach to the market entry and ongoing success. Companies can capture the Ghanaian opportunity on their own terms and in the process to ensure long-term profitable growth. Look at this. Look at this shit right here, the real GDP versus sub-Saharan Africa. Look at that huge spike. Then it's going back down, but it's still increasing. It's still higher than 4%, what it was. This is the expected growth. Look at this. Do you see this chart? Look at this. This is Ghana. Why would you wait? You see the trend. You see the trends. Okay? Look at the growth. This is the population. The population is getting larger. Look at the FDI, foreign direct investment. Look at the foreign direct investment. That's all China, all Russia. Look at this. Ghana's exports. Look at how much they're exporting. Everything is trending upward. Number of registered companies. Look at how many people are putting companies in there. Are you putting a company in there? Are you starting a business over there? Why sit around in the United States? This is what I'm talking about. When I tell people you need to separate, here's a perfect way to separate. People always talk about, oh, you know, well, people don't have solutions. People don't have solutions. People just talk shit. Well, I'm not talking shit. Here goes solutions. Look at this. This is exactly what he's talking about. Look, and they calling it a pot of gold. A host of some of the world's leading mining houses, including Anglo Gold, Ashanti, and Newmont. Ghana enjoyed gold production of 2.97 million ounces in 2010 and nearly 1.5 million ounces in the first half of 2011. Gold production in Ghana has grown by almost 1,000% since 1980. Look, are you looking at these numbers? This is why they're telling you that Africa is nothing's going on there. This is why they're telling you that nothing is going on there. I'm going to link these reports. I'm going to link these reports into the description box. Ghana is set to be the world's fastest growing economy. This is from the World Economic Forum. Do you see this? This is from the World Economic Forum. Wouldn't that be sweet irony if we bridged the racial wealth gap through reinvestment in Africa to help make Africa great again? Why is nobody hearing me on this? World Economic Forum. Does that help? It's not just some, random ass nigga sitting at a computer with a hat on. It's World Economic Forum. I know, you know what I'm saying? Like, people have trust issues when it comes to listening to, anybody that looks like them. But hello, you know what I'm saying? Here goes the bankers. Here goes the bankers saying the same thing that I've been saying. Go back and look at my older content. I actually did videos on this. Ghana will grow faster than any other economy this year, the IMF says. And they say why. And growing faster than any other economy, that includes the United States. That includes China. That includes Russia. That includes the heavy hitting countries, which means that if you invest your money and they grow at that exponential rate, then your money, you're going to get a return on your money in an exponential rate. You're going to get a return on your money in an exponential rate. Ghana will grow faster than any economy this year, the IMF says, and this is why. Just 3 decades ago, Ghana was in crisis, impoverished, and suffering famine. It was on the verge of an economic collapse. Fast forward to present day, the West African nation has staged a remarkable comeback and is predicted to be the world's fastest growing economy in 2019. So this was in 2019. Long known as one of the world's largest cocoa producers. This is what the president is talking about right now. This is what he's talking about right now on this video that I have up here on the screen. Ghana's growth is now being valued by a different commodity, oil. Expanding crude oil production and rising prices have placed Ghana's economy at the top of the GDP growth tables. The International Monetary Fund estimates GDP will rise 8% this year. The Monetary Fund is looking at them. Now, this is the same situation that I talked about when I talked about the failure of the black billionaires and millionaires here in the United States to utilize the opportunity that Goldman Sachs is using. Don't slip up and not take advantage of this opportunity. I don't understand why black business investors, black millionaires, athletes, why they're not dumping money into here. The black athletes should have a fund where they take $1 million or $2 million out of each contract and just dump it into Ghana. That would be being on code. Who cares about a damn Black Lives Matter march? Who cares about some damn statues coming out? Who gives a shit about any of that shit? What is that gonna do? So, Colin Kaepernick, get your ass up off the floor. Put your money into here if you care, if you want to see things get better. But see, that's the thing. There's certain people that actually want to see things get better, and then there's people that want to be recognized for you know, I'm doing all this, and you're not gonna get any recognition for this. You see what Akon did in Senegal? He's not getting any recognition for that. Akon has done a lot for Senegal. Look, we're gonna talk about that real quick. Akon Senegalese investment. Akon Senegalese investments. All right. $6 billion. $6 billion. Akon invests $6 billion in futuristic Senegalese city inspired by Wakanda from Black Panther. R&B singer Akon is officially moving ahead with plans to build a futuristic Pan-African city in his native Senegal. He previously likened to the fictional city of Wakanda from the movie Black Panther. On Monday, Akon announced that the construction on $6 billion project will begin next year in an effort to help countries' tourism, which is happening in many other countries and is ailing due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So here in the United States, all motherfuckers do is talk about Wakanda. And Akon is actually building one. See, that's the difference between what goes on elsewhere and what goes on here in the United States. That's the difference between a mind state. That's the difference between being bloodthirsty and settling for water. That's the difference between being bloodthirsty and settling for water. Sitting around, palling around, talking about Wakanda as if it's an actual real place, or actually putting shit together and making it become a real place. That's the difference between being bloodthirsty and settling for water. Too many of us are too comfortable when we settle for water. The president of China, Xi Jinping, the man grew up in a cave. He was poor. And now he's the president of China, the Communist Party of China, one of the most powerful countries in the world. There's no excuses. There is no excuses. The IMF is looking at Ghana. Akon is putting $6 billion worth of plans into a Senegalese city to drive tourism. That's a $6 billion investment. Why is Jack Dorsey more interested in Africa than Jay-Z? Why don't you ask the questions? When are we going to start pressing these celebrities and these athletes for the dumb and stupid shit that they do? and the dumb and stupid shit that they lead people to. Now, I get it. Everybody's not a finance person. Everybody's not a business person. Everybody's not a damn global economist. I understand that. I'm not expecting everybody to be, just like I'm not no damn computer scientist. I don't know how to do no damn coding and shit like that. But at the same time, that's the problem. People need to use their strengths. I listen to a lot of people and they just talk a bunch of garbled nonsense and they don't know anything. Hold these people to task. Everybody wants to question Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Our fate's not in Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's plan. It's not in their plans. You can scrap that. Why are you even asking them questions? You already know what's up. We do videos about this shit all the time. You listen to all these people on YouTube. Anybody that does content that's similar to me, you know what I'm saying, that wants to see us do better, they'll tell you none of that shit is going to do anything. Why are you sitting around waiting? You can take your power into your own hands. You can build a legacy. You can build generational wealth by doing this. The World Economic Forum, I'm going to repeat it again, is telling you that Ghana has one of the fastest growing economies. There's no reason why there should be more Europeans, more Asians invested in Ghana than there are black people. There should be no reason for that. That's not practicing powernomics. Could you imagine if you practiced powernomics on a global scale, what that would do, how that would change the world, how that would even the playing ground? We wouldn't even have to play on the same damn playground. We could have our own playground and say, fuck y'all, go ahead, keep playing. We got our own thing. You know what I'm saying? The dependence and the fear, there's no excuses for it anymore. There's no excuses. This doesn't require anything other than investment. It doesn't require anything other than a little bit of research. It doesn't require anything other than actually wanting to improve. Or you can sit around and wait to see who the next person who gets the $6 billion from Goldman Sachs is. But I can tell you one thing. I can tell you who it's not going to be. And I can tell you who it's never going to be. It'll never be black men. That's what I can tell you. Anything that you're waiting for, if you're a black man, you will die waiting. Y'all like Kevin Samuels? Go get your cat. Go get your dog. Because you'll die average. Now let that sink in. Oh, them ads. Them ads.
Join me in welcoming His Excellency, President Nana Akufo-Addo of Ghana.
So what do I do? I come straight to the podium? Thank you. A set of statistics that I've been pulling out to make the point. Between Ghana and our neighbor Cote d'Ivoire, we produce 65% of the world's output of cocoa. The chocolate industry is a 100 billion United States dollars industry. And we, who produce 65% of its raw material, cocoa, make less than $6 billion from the toil of our farmers, i.e. barely 6% of the entire value chain of cocoa. The farmers, whose efforts make possible the growth of this lucrative industry, receive nearly a pittance for their labors. This is not right. We need to change the statistics. If we simply ground and sold the cocoa in paste form, instead of selling the cocoa beans, we double our earnings. In much the same.
Now, you want to talk about practicing powernomics? Everyone who has kids should be looking into these industries. Look into these industries in these emerging markets in these African countries. See what kind of career field that you can steer your child into, that'll help with manufacturing, operations management, computer information systems, agriculture, anything, and utilize every resource, including your own family, to build this up. It takes discipline. Shit doesn't just get given to you. That's the damn problem with religion. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to get given blessings and shit like that. Nah, man, you got to get out and take that shit. You got to get out and earn that shit. You know what I'm saying? You got to work hard. You got to sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, when it comes to dealing with black people, there's 3 seconds left on the shot clock and we're 8 points down. No timeouts left. You know what I'm saying? Figure it out.
Same way as we double our earnings from gold if we sold it refined than in its raw states. I do understand that there are nations who have built their industrial complexes around the value chain of our raw commodities. It is time to change that setup. In Ghana, through my government's one district, one factory policy, we're ensuring an even spatial spread of industries. This policy is intended to promote rapid rural industrialization at the district level, driven by strong linkages to agriculture and other natural resource endowments in order to create jobs and development. It's time we were responsible for processing our own resources. It is time.
See, processing your own resources, that he's practicing nationalism. He's practicing nationalism. See, there's a reason why when Trump said that he was an American nationalist, they tried to divert and get everybody to get emotional and think that he said that he was a white nationalist. I mean, like, you know, whatever, man. You know, he didn't really have a black voter base, so I mean, you can't really expect him to just bend over backwards to do all kinds of extra ass shit for black people. Just like you can't, if there's a couple Europeans in this country, you can't expect him, this president, to bend over backwards to do a whole bunch of stuff for Europeans. Just like in China, if me or a white counterpart would live in either one of those countries, you can't expect Xi Jinping to bend over backwards and do a bunch of extra stuff for us. Just like if we were in Russia, you can't expect Vladimir Putin to change the damn country of Russia around us. You know what I'm saying? This is just natural, basic shit. But the one beautiful thing about the United States is that you have access to all of this information, and you have access to some of the most valuable currency in the world for now. For now. To be able to invest in some of these opportunities. But instead, people don't. People don't even pay attention to this. People don't even pay attention to this. You literally have a whole bunch of people on YouTube that go around and talk about how privy they are to investments and all the business opportunities that they're doing, and telling everybody to buy black business and purchase and patron black business. But they're not even investing, you know, in black commodities. When commodities are one of the most stable, volatility resistant investments, some of the least risky investments that people can make. And they come right out of Africa, cocoa. Buy some cocoa futures. Can you imagine if you bought cocoa futures? Can you imagine if you bought cocoa futures? Let's actually look at and see if they got cocoa futures. Cocoa's futures price. Trade futures online. Look at this. Look at this. Look. Cocoa futures. Historical annual data. Year open. So they basically increased by $100,000. Right now, I want to see if I can find a chart. Let me see. Is there a chart on here? See, cocoa's futures. Let me see. Price and chart. Let me see if they got a chart over here. There it is. Look. All years. Let's look at all years. Year to date. That's not bad, though. That is not bad. Let me see. 10 years, 20 years. See the constant uptrend? You see the constant uptrend? See, in 1970, it started out, you know, damn near at 1,000. Now it's at 2,500. Futures, cocoa futures, current and historical prices. But don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about.
And that we in Africa manage our resources well to generate wealth for our populations. What is true of our agricultural resources is equally so, if not more so, for our mineral resources. 30% of the Earth's remaining minerals are to be found on the continent of Africa. We've been told by the highly respected former president of the Republic of South Africa, Thabo Mbeki.
I promised a huge announcement, so here is...
Oh, God. This guy.
Of the high-level panel that produced a report on illicit financial flows from Africa, commissioned by the Joint African Union Commission and United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, Conference of African Ministers for Finance, Planning, and Economic Development, that Africa is losing annually more than 50 billion United States dollars.
$50 billion. $50 billion is how much Africa is losing. Think about that. 50 billion. Think about that. Africa's losing 50 billion, and that's damn near probably what Goldman Sachs is going to mess around and invest over that period of time that it plans to invest in black women. But Ghana is giving away $50 billion. If he says that Ghana is losing $50 billion, that means that the European countries, the West, China, and Russia are getting $50 billion for free that Ghana is not capitalizing on.
Through illicit financial outflows. He revealed further that between 2000 and 2008, 252 billion, i.e. 56%, was from the extractive industries, including mining. Imagine the implications of us ensuring that even 50% of these amounts remain on the continent. We have to work feverishly at that. There's a critical need to involve young people in decisions that affect them. We cannot talk about sustainable development without the active involvement of youth. The former United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon argues that when we give young people decent jobs, political weight, negotiating muscle, and real influence in our world, they'll create a brighter future. Hence, Africa cannot talk about shaping the future without talking about the welfare and well-being of young people.
And that is why they're destroying our kids here in the United States. That is the sole reason why they're destroying the kids in the United States. It's the sole reason why they pump the images into your head that they do. It's the sole reason why they feed you the disgusting diets that they feed you. It's the sole reason of keeping you forever never able to realize anything. This is why people got to wake up. You got to start eating a better diet. You got to get away from the black mirror, which is the TV, which is your phone. Use it for information. Because the world is fearful because they know exactly what's about to happen. Can you imagine the entire continent of presidents like this dude? The one thing that the entire world fears is the unification of Africa. That's why Africa is the only continent that's invaded, hostile invasions of every other continent in the world. The United States, China, Asia, Europe, North America. The only country that's not the only continent that has not invaded Africa is Central and South America, and they don't need to because they have similar resource endowments as Africa. Everywhere else has invaded and divided Africa, and they're going to keep it like that. Because can you imagine if the continent that has 80% of the world's wealth, that is vital and crucial for the survival of the rest of the world. If Africa united, we would be in a position to where we could hold the entire rest of the world hostage, which is exactly where they need to be held. That is exactly where they need to be held, because it's been shown that when let loose, they do vile and disgusting things across the globe, the entire rest of the world. This is why the occupation has got to stop. There's vacancies, and people here can occupy. And these people in Africa, these presidents like this man here, Nana Akufo-Addo, he's asking for your occupation, financial. Some people want to move. Some people like the whole Pan-African thing. They want to move. That's fine. You don't have to move. I'm not moving. I ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? But I'll tell you what, though, when I get some extra money, I will invest. You can't keep talking about powernomics if you're burning money.
It is important that Africa takes these ideas forward to harness the value of a youthful population, holding human rights, gender equality, development of human capital, and dignity at the center of all of our investments. Only by providing opportunities that open the future to all young people do we create a brighter future. The median age in Ghana is 19 and a half years. Hence the overriding importance of democratic consolidation in Africa. Post-colonial authoritarian rule failed the African peoples. It continued the impoverishment.
They failed by design. They purposely failed by design so that they could build off of your back. They never had the intention on building. They never had the intention on building. That's why you should never have an intention on building with them as far as economically and anything else like that. That's why this dude is doing exactly what he should be. He's doing exactly what he should be doing. And people here in the United States need to follow this exact example.
Of our people, which is the consequence of colonialism and imperialism. As a result, a new paradigm shift is being undertaken to guide the transformation of poor agrarian economies into value-adding industrialized economies on the basis of democratic values and institutions. Africa is indeed attempting something novel in human history. We're trying to use the instruments of democracy to propel societies from poverty to prosperity. All previous successful efforts in this direction have been made either by authoritarian regimes or by limited democracies. Britain is a case in point.
Right now,
Oh no. I think I'm actually going to get rid of these ads today.
The Industrial Revolution took place against a background of limited franchise for the mass of the British people. Indeed, the wide extensions of the franchise by the Great Reform Acts of the 19th century went hand in hand with the evolution of the Industrial Revolution. And it was only in 1928 that women finally achieved the right to vote, long after the triumph of the Industrial Revolution. America is another case in point, where for most of the 19th and 20th centuries, a black population was denied the right to vote, even though the Industrial Revolution also triumphed in America in the late 19th century. We in Africa,
our continent, our home, with invaders in it, told us what we could do. That shit is unacceptable. You know what I'm saying? How do you come to somebody's continent and they're not allowed to vote and dictate the democracy there? That's absolutely absurd. They wouldn't allow it anywhere else. And now you had the same people who came to Africa uninvited, going around the rest of the world claiming that they're spreading democracy. You're not going around the world spreading democracy. You're doing the same shit you did when you showed up on the shores of Africa. You're going around the world spreading coronavirus and other shit.
are proceeding on the basis of full universal adult suffrage in promotion of human rights on a broad scale. If we succeed, which I'm very confident we will, we would have done something unprecedented in human history. It would enable us to build a new progressive African civilization, grounded on a system of governance that respects individual liberties and human rights, the rule of law, and the principles of democratic accountability, and rooted in our own indigenous cultural identity to make its own unique contribution to the growth of world civilization. My speech...
We don't need to contribute to the world civilization. The world thinks it's civil enough on its own. In my opinion, this is one of the ways, but I guess I understand for these speeches, you can't sound like me, a complete supervillain. But, you know, yeah, the world is fine. You know what I mean? They'll be fine without Africa. And when they're not fine without Africa, they can use some of that money that hopefully they saved and buy some shit, some sustenance resources at a premium.
Has many of the makings of a dream, but it is a dream that is grounded in reality. I don't accept that the African has a DNA that dooms us to failure. Africa's can.
Like the United States preached since the 1800s. That was the doctrine of the United States, and they preached it through Christianity. Exactly what he just said.
Accept that the African has a DNA that dooms us to failure.
That is public policy here in the United States. That's why he said that. That is what these people that you walk around with at the population at large, that is what they believe. You don't need to be in a place like that. It's not safe. It's not safe for a population at large and a government to run an entire smear campaign on you just because you look different than them. You need to go. You need to not participate with anything that they do. Nothing. No money, no participation, no politics, no nothing. Invest your money where people don't think that because you look different or have different DNA than them, that you're deemed to fail. Why would you put your money into the United States when the United States has literally made laws proving that they believe what he said? He just said you don't have DNA that makes you have a higher chance of failure. But the United States has laws set up to exploit that actual false belief. Why would you continue to contribute to such a fucking wicked, hateful system that turns around and when they hear somebody saying the things that I say, call me hateful and prejudiced? I'm not saying I'm not hateful and prejudiced. I'm trying to defend myself from my own sustenance.
Grounded in reality. I don't accept that the African has a DNA that dooms us to failure.
That's what everybody should type into the comments right now. Africans don't have DNA that deems you to failure because the United States and the population at large believes otherwise. And they've programmed you to believe that, which is why there's so many horrible outcomes. They've programmed you, so you need to unprogram yourself from that kind of thinking and then detach from it.
Has many of the makings of a dream, but it is a dream that is grounded in reality. I don't accept that the African has a DNA that dooms us to failure. Africa's can, like all the other peoples that have succeeded, make life meaningful and worth living for their own people. We must cultivate an irrepressible desire to do right by the citizens. The resources of our nations belong to our people. They do not belong.
Facts. That's what I'm saying, man. Go listen to what this dude is saying and then listen to a Trump speech. You know what I'm saying? It's literally the same shit. This is what I'm saying. Like, motherfuckers may not have liked Trump, but they should have been taking notes.
Belong to the political class or any other elite. To appropriate the wealth of our nations for the benefit of a few is both morally wrong and criminally culpable.
Right. Well, exactly what he's saying is absolutely right. But here in the United States, if they get hold of listening to somebody say the things that I say, they try to point the finger at me. They try to point the finger at me and say that I'm racist. They try to say that I'm hateful when the things that I'm trying to fight are in a response to their racism and their hatred. I didn't have anybody enslaved for 400 years. I didn't put laws into place to make people illiterate in the 1500s. There is a whole population of people who descend from that legacy, but I'm not one of them. So don't ever point your finger at me and tell me that the things that I have to do to survive in the environment that you created is racism. Fuck out of here.
On my part, I've established the Office of Special Prosecutor, an independent, non-partisan body with a relevant professional capability, led by a renowned anti-corruption campaigner, indeed who's a leading member of the opposition, to investigate and prosecute exclusively acts of corruption. The office is to lead the fight and hold public officials, past and present, accountable for their stewardship of public finances. Africans, dare I say, can and must do it themselves. We cannot expect others to do it for us. Many of us felt a sense of guilt and shame when the former British Prime Minister Tony Blair said, and I quote, "Africa is the scar on the conscience of the world," unquote.
Africa is the scar on the conscience of the world, but you know what's funny? They don't apologize. So fuck them.
We can and must build Africa on a strong foundation of the ability and industry of its citizens, an Africa that exemplifies the true spirit of its people working towards the common goal of better existence. Honest, disciplined management of public finances, strong macroeconomic fundamentals, competitive business environment, enhanced mobilization of savings and investments. These are some of the basic elements that have to be established.
Don't let me get over there and let me link up with this man, because it'll be a damn dark cloud over the entire world with my face on it. And everybody will be doing really well.
To permit the growth of robust economies on the continent, which can then generate jobs and rising living standards for our young people. They are the mix of Ghana's current economic profile, a mix that has enabled the Ghanaian economy to grow from 3.6% in 2016 to 8.5% in our first year of office in 2017, 6.8% last year, and a projected 7.9% this year, making Ghana one of the fastest growing economies in Africa. There is an abundance of dynamic entrepreneurial talent on our continent, struggling to express itself and take advantage of such conditions. We have to encourage this expression with full force and ensure that we can stand on our own feet and make it impossible for the systematic looting and plundering of our human and material resources that have characterized much of our modern history to continue. This is the
facts.
Significance of the concept of Ghana beyond aid, indeed, of Africa beyond aid. This year, we will be commemorating the 400th anniversary of the commencement of one of the most unfortunate and barbaric episodes of human history, the transatlantic slave trade, when the first 20 West African slaves were brought to the Commonwealth of Virginia, which subsequently became part of the United States of America. Dubbed the Year of Return, the commemoration is a statement of our determination that never again should the African peoples permit themselves to be subjected to such dehumanizing conditions, sold into slavery, and have their freedoms curtailed in order to build up forcibly countries other than their own.
Now, where is all the people like Fox and Breitbart and anybody that's got a problem with people talking about reparations, talking about black people taking responsibility for that? Pretty much sounds like right there that he just did. So this is another instance of where these people who literally spout these idiotic talking points never want to come face to face with somebody that'll bite their head off and spit it out in a debate. That's why they put people like Charlemagne in front of Bill Maher. That's why you will never see somebody like me. You will never see somebody that has any inkling of reality in front of any of these people, because they would make them publicly look so bad it would change the face of the world in that instance.
And create wealth for the peoples of our unknown lands to which they were sent, wealth from whose enjoyment they were largely excluded. We also want to use...
And still are. We're still not excluded. They still just kill us whenever the fuck they want to and then turn around and blame it on us. They call us trying to get out from up under the system of the nonsense that was built in the United States. They call that reverse racism. Disingenuous and liars. Now, Ghana's one of the countries that sold black people into slavery, and he just addressed it. But you notice, this is a black man. You will never, ever hear a Western country apologize for slavery, because they're not wired that way. They will never acknowledge it. They'll never acknowledge it. They'll never apologize for it. And if they can get it to happen again when you don't, if you don't even know that it's happening, they'll do it again. That's what they're doing now with the class system. Artificial intelligence is on its way in. This is exactly what's going to happen. They're not sorry. They're trying to figure out ways to implement it now where on paper it doesn't look like it exists.
The events of this year to solidify our relations with our kin and kith.
Did you know that the average...
They're trying to implement it now in a way where it doesn't seem like it exists.
Descendants of Africa here in the Americas and the Caribbean. It should be obvious to all black people in the world by now that their dignity and standing are intricately bound up with the dignity and standing of Africa. Thankfully, most of Africa has decided to chart a fresh and new path. It is my hope that it will serve as the impetus for reshaping our countries and constructing a new road of growth and development in freedom, which will lift the long-suffering African masses out of poverty into the realms of prosperity and dignified existence. Joseph Boakai Dankwa, the Ghanaian colossus who was the father of modern Ghanaian nationalism and founder of the political tradition that gave birth to my party, the New Patriotic Party, said as far back as 1960...
I told you this dude was playing out of Trump's book. He just said the New Patriotic Party. Listen.
The Ghanaian colossus who was the father of modern Ghanaian nationalism.
Ghanaian nationalism. Didn't Trump say he was a nationalist? I'm telling you, man. People need to start taking emotion out of shit. That's why they have you so sensitive to racism, because you can't see past the racism to actually get the message and the lessons and the things that you need to learn in order to do things successfully. I'm telling you, this dude is literally using the Trump American model. I'm telling you this shit. Matter of fact, I'm curious. Let me see something. I want to see something real quick. I'm just curious. Let me see something. Yeah. Yeah, so he definitely for sure got some lessons. I'm interested to hear what went on this. See, I didn't even know that he went there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm telling you, they keep you so in the dark on all this stuff. They keep you so in the dark because they don't want you to see how Africa is progressing. There's a reason for that.
Thank you very much. Pastor relations.
My name is H.R. McMaster, Assistant to the President for National Security Affairs. We are honored to be joined by His Excellency President Akufo-Addo of Ghana. It is a great privilege to host you, a group of valued partners with whom we have strong relationships that will grow stronger in the coming months and years. And it is a great honor to introduce to you our 45th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Thank you very much, General. I appreciate it. And I'm greatly honored to host this lunch, to be joined by the leaders of Cote d'Ivoire, Ethiopia, Ghana, Guinea, Namibia, Nigeria, Senegal, Uganda, and South Africa. In particular, I want to thank President Conde, who is representing the African Union. Thank you. In this room, I see partners to promote.
See, the reason why I wanted to look at that, and I'm going to look into this actually a little bit later, is because he's taking the playbooks. You know what I'm saying? And he's utilizing like a Ghana first policy in order to try to bring the manufacturing. He's talking about processing the cocoa beans in Africa, processing the gold in Africa. That's literally what Trump was trying to do, and bring the manufacturing base away from China and bring it back to the United States. Now, again, I'm not talking about vote for anybody for president. I'm not saying none of that shit. What I'm saying is we're talking about business practices, because first you have to get the money. And people forget, man, as many people watch Scarface, you know what I'm saying? First you get the money, then you get the power. You know what I mean? So you got to get the money. So you got to figure out a plan to get the money. This shit shouldn't be rocket science, man. There's so many people out here talking about high value men, and you know what I mean? But like nothing's changing though. You know what I'm saying? Like, where is all this value at? If there's so many high value men out here, where the fuck is the value at with black people, period? Where the fuck is it? The whole continent of Africa don't have as much value. That's what this guy right here on the screen is fighting for. So where the fuck is all this value at? Where's it going? Where the fuck is the value at? There's so many high value motherfuckers out here. Where the fuck is the value going? Where is it?
Joseph Boakai Dankwa, the Ghanaian colossus who was the father of modern Ghanaian nationalism and founder of the political tradition that gave birth to my party, the New Patriotic Party, said as far back as 1961, over 50 years ago, at the height of the 20th century Cold War, that the party's policy is, quote, is to liberate the energies of the people for the growth of a property-owning democracy in this land with a right to life and freedom and justice as the principles to which the government and laws of the land should be dedicated in order specifically to enrich the life, property, and liberty of each and every citizen, unquote. This is our vision of human empowerment for Africa's golden future. It has been a great pleasure for me to spend my 75th birthday amongst you.
Man, that dude is 75. Man, that's some for real actual motherland black don't crack shit. That nigga looks super duper young. He's 75 years old? Damn, seriously?
Which will lift the long-suffering African masses out of poverty into the realms of prosperity and dignified existence. Joseph Boakai Dankwa, the Ghanaian colossus who was the father of modern Ghanaian nationalism and founder of the political tradition that gave birth to my party, the New Patriotic Party, said as far back as 1961, over 50 years ago, at the height of the 20th century Cold War, that the party's policy is, quote, is to liberate the energies of the people for the growth of a property-owning democracy in this land with a right to life and freedom and justice as the principles to which the government and laws of the land should be dedicated in order specifically to enrich the life, property, and liberty of each and every citizen, unquote. This is our vision of human empowerment for Africa's golden future. It has been a great pleasure for me to spend my 75th birthday amongst you.
75 years old, man. That dude is sharp, you know what I mean? And brilliant, charismatic, and very youthful. You know what I'm saying? I would have never guessed old boy was 75. Never in my life would I have guessed that. So I wanted to look at this real quick. I can't remember where that thing was at. Let me see. Yeah, here you go, right here. I think this was the IMF. The IMF Prospectus. All right. This is the IMF Prospectus for Ghana. All right. So now here it says Ghana will grow faster than any other economy this year. The IMF says why. Just 3 decades ago, Ghana was in a crisis, impoverished and suffering famine. It was on the verge of an economic collapse. Fast forward to present day, the West African nation has staged a remarkable comeback and is predicted to be the world's fastest growing economy in 2019. Long known as one of the world's largest cocoa producers, Ghana's growth is now being buoyed by a different commodity, and that commodity is oil. Expanding crude production and raising prices have placed Ghana's economy at the top of the GDP growth tables. The International Monetary Fund estimates that GDP will rise 8.8% this year, double the pace of emerging economies as a whole, well ahead of world growth. All right, there's a chart for you right there. While Ghana's prosperity is closely tied to the oil markets, it remains one of the largest exporters of gold in the world, and cocoa is still a significant product, as the chart below demonstrates. And this is a heat map, so 49% of the market of Ghana's 17 billion is 49% gold. Crude petroleum is 17%. Cocoa beans is 10%. Cocoa is 3.1. Cocoa butter is 1.7. You know what I'm saying? You've seen a heat map before, all right? But it's not just Ghana's resources that are driving the economic uptick. Under a stable democracy, the government initiatives are to formalize the economy and introduce a more favorable taxation structure that are starting to bear fruit, the IMF says. It was once floundering manufacturing industry and also being helped through policies aimed at diversifying the economy and preventing an over-reliance on the commodities markets. But despite its blossoming economy, Ghana's GDP per capita is halfly rough of that of the emerging and developing economies. According to the IMF, unemployment is also marginally above the rate for sub-Saharan Africa. With fellow West African nations, Mauritania and Senegal, both looking to make good on their own recent oil and gas discoveries, eyes will be on Ghana to convert its oil boom into sustainable growth. All right. So what do y'all think about that? That's pretty crazy. And we got Akon over here. He's practicing powernomics. He's revealing that $6 billion. He plans on creating a city that's worth $6 billion in Senegal. That's inspired by Wakanda. All right. R&B singer Akon is officially moving ahead with his plans to build a futuristic Pan-African city, all right, in his native Senegal that he previously likened to the fictional city of Wakanda from the movie Black Panther. On Monday, Akon announced that the construction on the $6 billion project will begin next year in an effort to help the country's tourism industry, which is happening in many other countries and is ailing due to COVID-19. So here's another investment opportunity. Stay away from the NASDAQ, stay away from the blue chips, stay away from the S&P 500, stay away from the New York Stock Exchange. Invest in the African businesses and the African exchanges. You will never gain wealth investing in a New York Stock Exchange, because the New York Stock Exchange is built into our financial system here in the United States, and that's locked in to where you can never own a significant portion. There's locked in generational wealth there that you can't get access to. Akon said that he hoped his project would provide much needed jobs for Senegalese and also serve as a home back home for Black Americans and others facing racial injustices. So people understand what time it is. It seems like everybody else all over the world understands that Black people need to get out of the United States except for Black people here. I mean, they're telling you, you know, like, hey, you know, it's getting bad for y'all there. You need to get out. But niggas want to stay. And niggas see nothing wrong. Honestly, I think Africa might do the turnaround before Black people here in the United States do. The system back home treats them unfairly and in so many ways that you can never imagine. and they only go through it because they feel that there is no other way, he said. I don't know if it's that. They know that there's another way. They know that there's another way because motherfuckers will do whatever necessary to get them some, you know what I'm saying, a woman. So if you know what to do to get a woman, you know what I'm saying, if you're going all over the place and doing all kind of extra ass shit to do that, then you can take your ass over here to have a better life. But that's not what's important to you, so you don't do it. You don't even fucking invest in it. You don't even look into it. You know what I mean? You don't even give a fuck. So if you're coming from America or Europe or somewhere else in the diaspora and you feel that you want to visit Africa, we want Senegal to be your first stop. Invest in Senegal, people. Ghana and Senegal. Akon, who was born in the United States to Senegalese parents, spent much of his childhood in the West African country, where only 44% of rural households had electricity, even as recently as 2018. Plans for Akon City include a seaside resort, a technology hub, and recording studios. In addition, hospitals, a police station, and a university will be constructed, as well as an effort to make the city as self-sustaining as possible. Akon even envisions the city having its own cryptocurrency, already dubbed A-Coin. See, now that's smart. That's smart shit. Know what I mean? Jay-Z, supposed to be a businessman, he's not thinking on this level. He wants to pile around with Jack Dorsey while Jack Dorsey makes moves like this. You know what I'm saying? Jay-Z wants to pile around with Jack Dorsey while Jack Dorsey makes the Akon type moves. I mean, the evidence is clear. I really don't have much else to say, except for what's stopping you. If everybody wants to do better and bridge the racial wealth gap, it's not going to be bridged in the United States. So when people talk about, oh, well, there's no alternatives, there's no solutions, here's an alternative, here's a solution. So, with that being said, that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. All right. If you made it this far, please make sure that you hit the links that pop up on the screen, the 3 circles and the square. All right. Watch the next video. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel by hitting the bell icon twice or hitting all 3 links. Please share this video out to your social media. Drop me a comment, not only in the chat, but also in the comment section. All right. And I will catch you on the next video.